And welcome back to a Saturday edition of the Prop Shop Live. I am your host, Bobby Stanley, also known as PropHolliday on social media, rocking with the GoldBoys. It's Super Bowl edition. We've made it. We've made it an entire NFL season every Monday, Thursday, and Sunday. You guys were kind enough to sit here and listen to my bullshit while I give you some picks. We won some money. We lost some money. We had some fun. I was going to have Tone queue up a greatest hits montage, but we just couldn't get it done. Let's talk about Super Bowl LIX in New Orleans. Spread still sits at 1.5. Total down to 48.5 from 49.5. I don't have a side in this one. Not at least one that I'm betting in terms of like a one unit play, like putting one unit on the Eagles or one unit on the Chiefs. I'm not doing it. I don't see an edge there. The Lions played pretty steady. Eagles are the better team, but the better quarterback and better head coach sit in Kansas City. That was the case for the last 2 years, for the last two Super Bowls, both with Mahomes, and it's probably going to be a theme throughout Mahomes' career. He's going to be facing teams that are better than him, but he's Patrick Mahomes, and Andy Reid is Andy Reid. We'll see what happens when Andy Reid moves along, but for now, he's going to be there at least this year and next year. The story for me needs to be about GM Howie Roseman for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's the biggest thing that's oversight on my part in the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. We've talked about Jalen Hurts, how he's being underrated. We've talked about Nick Sirianni, how he's underrated. He's undefeated against McVay and Campbell and LaFleur. The story to me is how well this Philadelphia Eagles team was built, and that credit goes to Harry Roseman. Signed Saquon Barkley to a 3-year deal. Signed Zach Bond to a 1-year deal. Both of these guys are top 3 candidates for Offensive Player of the Year and Defensive Player of the Year. His last 2 drafts brought in Quinion Mitchell, Dijon Cooper. Cooper Dijon, Jalen Carter, and Nolan Smith. That's 4 impact starters on the defensive side of the ball. He has a top 3 wide receiver duo in the NFL in A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. He's got a top 10 tight end in Dallas Goedert, who's probably closer to 5 than he is 10. And they have a top 10 offensive line. Jalen Hurts is a top 10 quarterback. To me, he's good enough to win a Super Bowl, and that's all you need. I'm not downplaying him. I just don't think he's better than Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. I don't think he's better than Justin Herbert. I don't think he's better than Matt Stafford. And that's kind of where we start talking about him, is in that range. Brock Purdy. But he's good enough to win a Super Bowl, and that's literally all you need, especially when your team is this talented. Now, if he loses his top wide receiver duo and he loses Dallas Goedert and their defense isn't as good as it is, and he doesn't have a generational running back, and we saw what happened when he lost Shane Steichen, can he elevate his team around him? That I don't know. But I know he's good enough to win a Super Bowl. I saw it the first time. The moment's not too big for him. And sometimes good enough is just enough. And nobody wants to say that. He either has to be better than all these guys. He has to be better than Lamar Jackson, because Lamar Jackson has suffered in the playoffs and only thrived in the regular season. Lamar Jackson's coming off one of the greatest seasons a quarterback has ever had. He might, MVP last year. So take it for what it's worth. On the Kansas City side of the ball, they're still a good team because it's Patrick Mahomes, and they have an above average defense. I do believe that. Steve Spagnuolo getting a lot of his flowers this Super Bowl cycle, I would say, more so than other years. Talks about him potentially being an NFL head coach. Will he wait till Andy Reid kind of moves on? Could he be a candidate for a Las Vegas Raiders job? He finally deserves one, but everybody has that St. Louis Rams stint in the back of their head. It's going to be fun for me to see what Andy Reid comes up with offensively in this specific Super Bowl, different than the one 2 years ago. It's going to be fun to see who steps up in kind of this ragtag wide receiver core. Outside of Xavier Worthy, outside of Travis Kelce, someone's going to go off. It'll be a juju game. Noah Gray, Justin Watson, DeAndre Hopkins, Hollywood Brown. Someone's going to step up. It's just a matter of who and where Andy Reid thinks he can exploit a weakness against his Vic Fangio defense. Kareem Hunt could be a massive factor in the Super Bowl. He wasn't signed till week 3. That's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about quarterbacks. We have all of these random mishmash pieces, and here's Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Can Jalen Hurts do that? I don't know. I do know they're 4-0 in the playoffs when he throws under 250 yards passing. They're 0-3 when he exceeds that number. Whatever that means. In general, I lean under 48.5. If you tell me the Eagles blew out, if you talk to me on Monday morning and say, can't believe the Eagles blew them out of the Super Bowl, it wasn't even watchable, I totally believe it. They're that good of a team. But I refuse to bet any money against Patrick Mahomes. I learned that lesson against Tom Brady for all of my youth. So not touching a side, but there's a couple player props I think we can make some money on. First one, right out of the gate, Marquise Hollywood Brown over over 3.5 receptions or 4+, depending what book you can get it on. And I'm going up to 5+ to plus 178. I think it's plus 180 this morning, and I brought that down to about half a unit. I did some tape. We'll call some tape watching on NFL Pro, and I watched all of Hollywood Brown's targets and routes run this season. They weren't that many, so it wasn't that hard. But he's had kind of a rough season for them, some fluctuations. He didn't see his first start till week 16, where he logged 8 targets, 5 receptions for 45 yards. Immediately followed that up with 7 targets, 4 receptions, and 46 yards. The playoffs have not been that kind of. In the division round against Houston, he had 2 targets, 0 receptions against Houston. The conference championship, he had 5 targets for 3 receptions. For the Chiefs, it's kind of the team first approach. So whoever has the hot hand, wherever he can take advantage of, like I said earlier, Andy Reid's going to do that. So why Hollywood Brown? Why the 3.5 mark? Well, he's done it in 2 of the regular season starts I mentioned. So it's not like an absurd number. I think he played over 65% of the snaps in both of those playoff games, but it wasn't a matchup for him. Now, Vic Fangio's defense play a lot of I think they play a lot of shell coverages, 2 deep safeties. It's very hard to throw over the top of Vic Fangio defense. They will not give up the big splash play, which is fine, which is why I like Marquise Hollywood Brown. When I watched all those routes on NFL Pro, it was curls, drags, just him getting the ball out of the out to the sidelines, 5-6 yards. That's all they were using him. His ADOT was only 8.1. Occasionally, those quick outs where he's going 5-6 yards into the right, 5-6 yards into the left. He would break out and up and take off. He was getting the corner to bite because he was just building it the whole game. And then he dug out and went up. I think we could see a big explosive play, but I'm playing the receptions here because I feel like he's going to eat everything up underneath against Vic Fangio. So going over 3.5 receptions, 4+, and then I'm playing 5+ receptions in case I'm really right for nearly 2-1 at half a unit. That's my first play of the game. It is on the Kansas City side of the ball. A lot of fun promos we've been talking about all week in terms of what they're doing for the Super Bowl. FanDuel's got awesome news, though, for anybody who still hasn't picked up League Pass. If you bet $5, you get 150 in bonus bets if your bet wins, plus 3 months of NBA League Pass. We are getting to the back end of NBA right after All-Star break. You can finish watching the regular season, which should be pretty damn good, at least at the top of both conferences. And it's a lot of fun to bet some of these bottom of the roster guys when the NBA lets us. So pick up NBA League Pass. Do not miss this opportunity. Click the link in the description to get started. Must be 21+. Gambling problem? Call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Second play, got to be on the Eagles side of the ball. I got to have one for each when they're on offense, so I have something to root for. And this line should be still alive. I like it at 19.5. I still like it at 20.5, but it's Devonta Smith, longest reception. I got it at 19.5. You can go up to 20.5. It's still playable there for 1 unit. Smith just has a success historically against zone coverages. Chiefs run 8th highest zone coverage rate this season. Cleared this number in 2 of 3 postseason games. But the Rams Snow Bowl, I'm not counting that as a game. That was a half of football. So obviously he didn't sniff that. But during the regular season, hit this in 9 of 13 games. He's had success in against Kansas City previously. Had a 45-yard reception 2 Super Bowls ago. He's been quiet, but I think he can win his matchup in the slot against Shamari Connor. 27 first downs against zone defense compared to 15 against man. This obviously isn't a first down play, but it's showing you how much more success he's had against zone defense. I like this longest reception over 19.5. You could still play it at 20.5. And I think it's pretty universal in the books. Before we go into our last touchdown liquor cabinet of the season, a couple words from my boy Brad.
Wait, before we get back to the picks, I wanted to thank you all for watching. Friends don't let friends watch videos without hitting the like button. So go ahead and press the thumbs up button and like the video. If you're new here and not subscribed, you should go ahead and do so because we're dropping new content each and every day on the GoldBoys Network. We strive to cover every sport and give out picks and analysis and valuable information for free on the GoldBoys Network. So make sure you're subscribed and hit the bell so you can get notified when we drop something new. I'm Brad Thomas. Let's get back to the picks.
I am saddened that our last touchdown liquor cabinet of the season's here. We've had a lot of fun with this. For those that have stuck with us, my top shelf is a 1 unit play. My mid shelf are half unit plays, and well vodka is well vodka prices. So whatever you would spend on a well vodka at a happy hour on a Majorska is what you would put on these guys. Top shelf, best line I could find: Jalen Hurts minus 110s over on DraftKings. I think I'm 3 for 3 in my 1 unit touchdown bet scores. I only put out one in each game. I hit Joe Mixon in round one. I think I hit AJ Brown in last round. I forget where I was in the middle, but I've hit a touchdown score every one I've given out for 1 unit, and it's got to be Jalen Hurts in the tush push. There is no stopping it. And I think he gets at least one or two cracks at it in the red zone. And even if it's not in the red zone, we saw what he did against the Rams. He has the legs to take off and take it 35, 40 yards. So Jalen Hurts at minus 110. I like it in the Super Bowl for my top shelf. Mid shelf, two wide receivers, Devonta Smith and Marquise Brown. I like their matchups. Why wouldn't I bet them to score a touchdown? Plus 240 for Smith, plus 280 on Marquise Brown. That out and up. I saw it against Houston. If they can set that up throughout the beginning of the game, maybe look at a second half Marquise Brown touchdown. That might be where I go with this. But Marquise Brown, I think, is going to have a role in this offense in this Super Bowl. 65% of the snaps in both postseason games. This is a better matchup for him. So he's out there now, and I think he can win in small spaces. Nearly 3-1 on Marquise Brown. And then Vodka, I went with how I was playing the King of the End Zone promo for DraftKings. You can bet $5. The longest touchdown, you get to split the $1 million. So for mine, I did Devonta Smith first touchdown, parlayed it with Justin Watson at plus 1,100. I think $5 paid like over 1,000. That's what I would consider my vodka. It's a $5 bet. It is a promo on DraftKings. You could go Saquon Barkley 2 touchdowns. I don't think that's a bad way to spend it. He's plus 1,200 to score 3 touchdowns, which is just insane to think about. But if he gets 2, you have to realize 3 is in play because that would be matching Terrell Davis' postseason record. 8 rushing touchdowns in a postseason owned by Terrell Davis. Saquon Barkley currently sits at 5. So I guess that's in the wheelhouse. For my vodka, I went with Justin Watson and a Devonta Smith first touchdown. If not, I get the $5 back in bonus bets. And then you have the chance to split it if Justin Watson catches a 60-yard bomb. Does better against zone defenses than he does against man. So he may be a guy I throw in some crazy stuff. But thank you for watching me this season. We're going to keep going with the NBA stuff Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays for now. If we change it up, we will let you know. But it's been an awesome NFL season. Thank you for tailing me. And I appreciate you trusting me with some of your money. Take care. Enjoy Super Bowl.